Hello, welcome to Inside RHS, where you gain exclusive access to what made her so great. Welcome, Mrs.Jasmin.
Thank you.
So, what do you think young people should read some books?
I think young people should read books because it will give them more knowledge about current events happening, what happens in history, and sometimes, fictional stories are just as fun as nonfiction. So it really kind of helps with their imagination and creativity.
Okay. What kids' books do you think we should read?
I think that in terms of books, students should be reading about actual people who did great things for the world or our country. I think that way, if we're reading about real people, we can be inspired to do real things in this world and make a change.
What are some books that you have read that you think are important for them to be read by today's young?
Well, the most recent book I read was by our former First Lady, Michelle Obama. The book was entitled Becoming. I think that is an important read for really anyone to figure out what path they want to take and how in life sometimes we struggle with a lot of different things, but we have to figure out who we want to become. And I think it's an inspirational book for everybody to read.
Which topics they have seen the young people in your class, like the most?
I think wars. I think in history class, students really like to learn about the world wars. I think that's just something that's interesting because it involves so many different countries and so many different aspects and people involved. So I think wars are definitely an interesting topic for students.
Do you think some of your students can change the world by reading these books?
Of course, I think students can change the world if they sit in class and they really learn about the history, especially in our country. We have so many things going on presently that if we just look back in the past and we really learn what happened in the past, I think we can understand on how we need to move forward in the future. And I think reading about just individual people like you and me who were not famous, how they made changes in the world, in our country, is really inspiring.
What advice will you give to the young people who are going to listen to your interview about it?
I think the advice is to read. The more we read, the more knowledge we gain. And people can't take your knowledge away. People can try and take your maybe personal belongings away. They can try and take your rights away. But the more that we are educated and the more we read, they can't take our education away. And they can't take away what's in your mind. And the only way we're going to learn is if we read more and we see what's out there.
So, what are some writers or chapters in the history that have made your life and inspire you today?
I think reading biographies and autobiographies about various people such as Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, some of my favorite presidents, Teddy Roosevelt, that our school is named after. I think those are important people from history, and in terms of their books, I think we can learn a lot and gain a lot from that.
What do you think we should know more about history?
I think that we should know more about our rights, and especially when it comes to this country. We should know more about our rights. We should know the times where our rights were possibly violated, and we should understand how we can change that and hopefully make sure that everybody's rights are guaranteed. So I think it's important, those are the topics. And also just realizing that people in history are famous because they did great things. So they were average people like you and me and the rest of the students, but they went down in history because they stood for something and they chose to stand up for that. And that's, I think, an important thing. If we could all choose to stand up for something and be an upstander instead of a bystander, I think we could really make a change.
To end, Ms. Jasmin, How do you think young people today could awaken the desire to study about history and about reading?
I think that young people need to kind of get out of their own bubble, in their own little world, and just really understand that there are real important things happening in this world, and everybody is on social media, but I think use social media for the positive. Use it to see what's going on across our country, outside of our country, and educate yourself in that manner. You know, social media, you can read actual articles and real stuff and not just see what people are doing over the weekend.
Well, that is for today. We want to thank our guest, Ms. Jasmin, for joining us today, and be sure to tune in next time for another edition in Inside RHS. I'm your host, Ana Belloso. Have a great blue and gold day.